Hello, my name is Nora Gonzalez, and the topic to my essay today is the fear and hope of racial conflict. The general purpose is to persuade. By the end of my speech, my audience will agree with that we continue to have racial conflict within our society. How many of you think racial conflict still exists? Racial conflict is a major problem in our world. Today, I will persuade you to realize how it affects our society and that we can always have hope that it would get better. I'm a minority and I have witnessed and experienced racial conflict. First, I will address how racial conflict still exists. Second, I will speak about how people need to be educated and learn how to accept different races. Lastly, I will speak on how we need to promote diversity and break down barriers. Let me start by discussing our country's current situation. Racial conflict still exists, even though others have an opposing view. Even people with good intentions sometimes can say the wrong thing without realizing it. Is this a justifiable practice? Research suggests that racial conflict took a rise after the attacks on the U.S. on September 11th. People from Asian backgrounds came under high suspicion from the people and the police. The opposing view on racial conflict started with our first Black president. People saw that everything would get better, that this will end racial conflict, but racism still exists. If you do not live the life of a minority, you truly will never understand the true feeling of discrimination. Now that I've addressed our current situation, let's talk about how we can make things better and educate each other on our differences. People need to have an opportunity and they will learn to accept the differences on our race. We need to be educated instead of trying to avoid the differences, and this is an ongoing lesson. As we learn more about differences, we tend to discover each race has something in common, which could encourage positive relations and help avoid racial conflicts. Is racial conflict by law enforcement a serious problem in the U.S.? I say yes. There's pros and cons on racial conflict. Numerous studies confirm that law enforcement continue to rely on race, color, or ethnic origin as a basis for subjecting people to criminal investigations. The rapid increase of minorities triggered and prompted law enforcement on high alert. States have adopted immigration laws that invite the profiling of minorities. There's a con. Proactive policing and the best protection poor minority neighborhoods have against violence and fear. Police presence will be much higher on gang-infested neighborhoods, and officers deployed there will try to disrupt gang activity. Now that I have shared a great way to start accepting our differences, let's consider what can be done. We need to promote diversity and break down barriers. When there are racial conflicts, it undermines the unity of our community. Those who study ethnicity view the future and with a mixture of hope and fear. The percentage of minorities is expected to increase in the United States. There is fear from non-minorities of the loss of privilege and wealth. This is one of the reasons why there is present hostility and racial conflicts towards minorities. We need to promote diversity and inclusion. After presenting why there is fear and how not to lose hope, I will preview what I've discussed. First, I addressed how conflicts still exist. Second, I spoke how people need to educate themselves to learn how to accept their differences in race. Lastly, I discussed how we need to promote diversity and break down barriers. Finally, I encourage you to take action today by urging our government to pass an act which would end racial conflicts. Also, to assist our law enforcement and fellow community members and training and taking responsibility for their actions. Take action now, and let's prepare ourselves to live and work together in a diverse world. Works cited. I read Racial Profiling, written by Kay Jost on November 22nd, 2013 in the CQ Press Researcher. My second work cited was Racial Tensions in Schools, written by S. Phillips on January 7th, 1994 in the CQ Press Researcher. My third work cited is Racial Conflict, written by B. Cattell on January 8th, 2016 in the CQ Press Researcher. Thank you.